Cheers. Thank you for showing up. Welcome to my channel. I am doing a collective reading, and this reading is from Tattletales, from Tales from the Vector. And the very first card, this is a collective reading, so just be aware that it's more general, and so some parts may or may not resonate with you. The whole thing may or it may not. Just take what works for you and leave everything else. I'm beginning the reading off by taking the card from underneath the deck, and I'm just going to give the cards I've already shuffled, washed, shuffled, and I'm just going to cut this, and we're going to take the card off the bottom, and this is the moon. So this is the underlying energy for this reading. So this is about, the moon is about hidden illusions. It's also about not giving into hidden illusions. So this is about freedom through discipline of the mind. That's kind of been the energy in the last week, is actually being able to not be triggered by all the illusions that are happening around the world. Like you can see here, we have the sun and the moon on this card. So it's indicating that there is some light there, even though it seems like there may not be. And we have the crab crawling out of the water, and the crab is, the water represents emotions, and the crab is about like taking off your shell, so that you know, taking the armor off and allowing yourself to really feel, so you can get in touch with your intuition. We don't have a full moon or a new moon today, so I'm just getting, this is more of a general feeling of letting go of illusions, and let's get to what's really happening. Yesterday's reading, I had the tower as the thing, so that the tower is a reality check, so perhaps this is going to show us what some of the illusions are and how to deal with them. The first card out, I'm just going to double check. There we go. First card out, really interesting, because this card is the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles is being left out in the cold. These two are clearly in rough shape. The one's, you know, on crutches, and the other one, one of them has a bell around their neck. And in the old days, if you had the plague, they would make you wear a bell so that people could hear you coming and get out of your way. These people have been left out in the cold, and the two of them have gotten together to empower each other. And in the background, there's a church, and there's the Five Pentacles on the window there. So if they wanted to, they could go in the church and get respite from this, or they could, you know, collaborate with each other and work with each other to be able to make changes that are for the better, and find some shelter, and maybe find a way to progress what they're doing. The thing is what this card is saying is being left out in the cold is an illusion. There's a lot of snowflakes in the background, and this is a card for me of tactics. So there's been some tactics that have caused this to happen. Now, this can be on a personal level or very general, and we see in the world right now that there's all sorts of things happening in the world that don't make sense, and you'll see a lot of snowflakes here. And so the snowflakes are, you know, anyone can handle a flake or two, but when they start adding up, they can collapse your roof, and perhaps that's what's happened to these. So being left out in the cold is an illusion that we're going to overcome here as the first card. And the sun comes out. This is really funny because the universe has a good sense of humor. The sun comes out, and you know, what happens is the sun is God, basically. The sun is shining light on the situation here. Whenever you have the sun in a reading, it's the happiest card in the deck and the most powerful. And so any cards around it are illuminated by the sun. And you may have noticed this, but eventually, like what this is saying is, don't shovel other people's, you know, bullshit, because in the spring the sun is going to melt that snow. And it's just, think about, lazy dog owners, how in the spring, their laziness is exposed and it smells really bad and everybody notices and it comes out in the open. So that's really interesting, because the illusion of being left out in the cold and being alone is not true. God is with us and will eventually expose the bullshit underneath the snow. And if you live in Canada, you know what I mean. You have to pick up after your dogs every day, not wait until the snow melts. So, and the magician comes in then. And so we see with the bright yellow sky, the magician is about an energetic upgrade. It's about things getting better. The infinity symbol is above his head, and he also has the Ouroboros wrapped around his waist. And on his bench, he has all the tools to be able to make shift happen. The magician is the first step on the journey of the Fool in the tarot. And you'll notice that his right hand is pointing to the sky and his left hand is pointing down to the ground. And the magician, this is showing as above, so below. Really interesting how that's coming out already. This is going to be a really interesting reading. The Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, look at this. The aces are a gift from the universe, from God. And this is the Ace of Pentacles in particular is a reward that is being handed to you for being in your North Star, following your North Star. Your North Star is your purpose. Yes, Stella, that's my cat Stella, and she's discovered I'm doing a reading, so she likes to always put her 2 cents in. It's okay, Stella. We hear you. So God is basically saying here, I'm handing you this gift, and the gift is actual physical reward. It's a pentacle. So, the illusion is that you're all alone, but you're not, because God shows up right away with an energetic upgrade, and it is of health, wealth, happiness is on its way. Really, really interesting. And then we have the Queen of Cups. Wow. The Queen of Cups is the most maternal of all the 4 queens in the Minor Arcana. She's sitting on her throne, and she's in a place of being able to hold energy and love everything around her. She loves children, she loves animals, and she's in a place where this is talking about being in a place where someone who is ready for marriage, ready to have a family, able to love and spread that around and do good on the earth. And the queen, what's interesting, just because of the way this is going, it almost feels like it's the feminine aspect, like Mother Mary also is here. Really, really interesting. Really interesting energy. And then we have the Hermit. So the Hermit has been, climbed the mountain and went and sat on the mountain and went quiet and communed with God. And the Hermit goes to the mountain and communes with God so that they can come back down from the mountain and shed the light. The light in the lamp is a symbol for what they have learned from the journey. So I'm getting, this is really a beautiful reading for, the word would be hope, on the planet and in your life. So on a more, bigger level, it's saying that God has not deserted the planet. There's a lot of shift going on in the planet, and there is light. So when the Hermit goes up into the mountain and he gets all this clarity, then he comes down from the mountain and he shares it with others. And so that's what this is saying. So I guess that's what I'm doing today. We've got the King of Swords. following that. So the King of Swords is, this king is known for his intellectual ability. Generally, the King of Swords represents someone that is in the professional field, a well-educated person. He's got the sword, and it's a double-edged sword, and this is a weapon of mental intelligence. So the King of Swords doesn't resort to fighting like with his fists. The King of Swords uses his swords, cuts through the bullshit, and makes rulings for the land. He's sitting in this position, and all of the face cards in the spades or the swords tarot deck, there's birds in the background, and it's saying here there's two birds, which is kind of interesting because we've also got like these two coming out with this pentacle. So it's just saying that this king is aware also of what's going on, and this king also knows that talk is cheap and action speaks louder than words. So he is able to make action happen with his words. Wow, and then we've got the Two of Swords, which is a card of being in your mind and not being able to make up your mind or having a closed mind. There's this or that, and you'll notice both points of the sword are not showing. So it's kind of like this person is having a hard time getting to the point and understanding what's going on. It can also be read that they've gone inward, like because it's on the Hermit here. They've gone, I'm getting what's happening here is the King of Swords is law in this case. And the King of Swords has communed, meditated, gone inward, and prayed, and he's coming to ruling, and he went inward to be able to have the information to be able to make a strong ruling. We have the Hangman, and the Hangman also is talking about, he's hanging from the tree of knowledge, and he's doing everything he can to gain a new perspective on what's going on. And you see the light around his head, that represents the sun and the information, and it's also the same as, like, this is right on the Hermit also, and it's also on the Queen. And it's basically saying that this Queen of Cups has enough love to be able to contain this energy for it's coming up on a very general level for the planet, for everyone, in your family. If you're the Queen of Cups and you're the mother of the family, it could be that's your position. So it's this card is basically the King of Swords is the paternal order in the family, and the Queen of Cups is the love, the maternal energy in the family. Wow, and then we have the Hierophant. Wow. This is really interesting because the Hierophant also has the same kind of, his right hand in the air, and his hand is in the form of a blessing. And the Hierophant represents spiritual court, basically. And this is the card of tradition and putting rule and order into this decision. So this is really, really interesting how this is now on the Queen of Cups and on this gift that came in from the universe. The Hierophant is here. And there's two monks here that are, they're here to do the bidding of the Hierophant. So they represent the energy on earth. And you'll notice like they have the tenure, it's called, where they shave their heads so that their crowns are open and they can receive the information more clearly. Wow, this is speaking about, I'm getting on a high level here of order being brought in. So the illusion that the world is spinning out of control is an illusion. There's actually perfect order, and God is a God of perfect order. And it's a lot of people think things are spinning out of control, but they always spin back into control at the same time. That chaos happens. If you're in the eye of the storm, it's totally calm, which is talking about this card here of being able to be in the eye of the storm and not make emotional decisions. Also, if you notice, because we have the moon as the underwriting energy here, the new moon is a time that is really good for starting and beginning a project or start taking a new way in your life. It's all about the new coming in. So this bottom line is, what do you need? What are your basic needs? And it's saying that even though it may seem like you're out in the cold, God and the universe have you covered, and that God is aware of what's going on. God is the only one that really can judge properly, because God is the only one that knows everything, that has the clear view. Really interesting. But it's talking about bringing this down onto earth, because this is manifestation here. So there's well, let's see what's next. Yes, and we have the Three of Wands. So the wands represent action in the tarot. And we have, this card came up in yesterday's reading also, that this person is looking into the distance, and he's holding on to one wand, and he's got two wands that are left behind. And he's planning to make a move. This is sort of like, being the big fish in a little pond and wanting to expand horizons. That's what the fire energy is about. It's about the wanting to take action. And this card sometimes comes up as a card of betrayal, like in matters of passion, which could be love or what you love to do. That there is a partnership here, and you notice that he's leaving these two planted here and he's moving forward. So this could be like, okay, he's already done the work here and he's ready to tackle another, like what I'm getting, if this was an entrepreneur, which a lot of times the fire energy represents, he has established a business in this place, and now he's going to expand and take, make a franchise is what's coming up. That's coming up. Or it could be like in a relationship of love or whatever, that he's leaving that relationship and moving on to a different one. Yeah, expanding the horizons. And what's coming up here, okay, because and this card's been coming up in a lot of my readings in the last while, and this is the never-ending nightmare. And it can also be read as illumination from God. Like, so, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a nightmare and it's the same old thing, and, it looks like this person's very distraught. But at the same time, when you wake up between the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning, that generally is because you've had a dream or an inspiration handed to you by the Holy Spirit, and you are working. It's illumination. It's about what's hidden in the dark coming to light. And the quilt that is covering this person actually has a lot of cosmic symbols on it, and those cosmic symbols represent the fact that the universe does have you covered. So these are like steps of action that you could take to ascend out of the darkness. And look how it's sitting right on the Magician. and the sun illuminating this. I feel this, in this case, is waking up, you know, at that in between 2 and 4 in the morning and getting a message, and this person is doing their best to remember it. So on a side note, if you wake up at 2 or between 2 and 4 in the morning and you're in this position where you're doing your best to remember a dream, just don't move. Lay there and lay still, because as soon as you physically move, what happens is that makes it more challenging to remember the dream. And then this is talking about the strength. This card's been coming up a lot also. So this is what you need, and then this is how are you going to overcome obstacles to manifest getting out of the cold here, the illusion of getting out of the cold. And you need to have strength. And what's coming up here, and this has been coming up in my readings quite often if you do a lot of tarot readings, the story continues, but depending on the people that are watching it or going to watch it, and that could be like a year from now, are going to, you know, that what happens is they're going to need the strength. This is having the obstacles that need to be overcome, is having the strength to go inward. And this was in yesterday's reading also. And this is a young woman, and she's reaching into the lion's mouth. And the lion actually represents the fears that we have inside. And the solar plexus is about courage, and that's the yellow. And she is, you know, the lion is very submissive. And she's got the infinity symbol above her head, just like the magician. And look at the magician is pointing to the never-ending nightmare, which is sitting on the sun. And if you have the strength to go inward, this infinity symbol is on both of them, and they both have the same color sky in the background. This card is talking about being able to go inward and face fears that you've had probably from childhood, and being able to really, being able to let that go. And what just came to me also is this card. The wands are wood because they represent the tree of knowledge. And the tree, like there's offshoots, and then trees have roots. So a tree is deeply rooted, and then it's also expanding with the descendants. So the roots represent the ancestors. And what I'm getting here is this person is now contemplating leaving. That I'm getting these represent parents, leaving the way his parents did things behind and doing things in the own way. And that is the illumination, because most of the fears we have come from when we're a child, and we sort through them. So this is really a very, that's the main obstacle, is being able to go inside and recognize you're no longer a child, that you have more power now, and that you don't have to do things the way your ancestors did them. You have the right to, let go of any of that energy that maybe never ever was the way that you should do things, or it worked really well for your ancestors, but times are different now, and we need to look at doing things more differently. And the reason why things are different now, a lot of it is because we have access to way more information. Information is energy, and it also feels like it's speeding up time, because the more energy that we have on the planet, the faster the energy is moving. And that time thing is coming up because today in Canada, we set our clocks back 1 hour. And a lot of people, they're finding now that there's controversy about this. A lot of people become very overly disturbed by this time change thing, and it actually affects people's health in a negative way. And there's a lot of talk about not doing it again. And I looked it up, and I think it's called an entomologist, is a person who studies insects. And the reason in I think it was 57 or I can't remember exactly, there was an entomologist, someone who studies insects, and he proposed that we should set our clocks back because that would give him another hour to be able to find insects for his study. And I find that really funny, actually. So we have the Three of Pentacles here. The Three of Pentacles represents having mastery over a skill set. So because the Hangman is here, I feel like this energy is that this working on letting go of fears from childhood, the inner child energy, this person has mastered it, to as much as you can. And it's talking about the mastery of the skill set is actually talking about this person has become so valuable because they are so good at what they do that other people want to collaborate with them, which is a really awesome thing. Having said that, this is a stonemason, and this is sometimes a card for me that shows secret societies and the tactics that leave people out in the cold, the gang stalking and all that kind of energy. So this is a generational thing that happens. And wow, it's really interesting that the skill set, the mastery of the skill set, is going to allow the pentacles to come in. Here we go. And this person's on a bench, so you notice that he's above them on the ground. So he can choose who he wants to work with and who he doesn't want to work with. And that's basically what he has to do. He has to work with the people that are going to benefit his career the most and his life the most. And not maybe, that's what's coming up again here, is maybe not follow the rules that his parents followed, but allow himself to be on his own journey. Because now we have the Page of Swords coming up. And the Page of Swords, the Page of Swords is bringing in a message, and his message is like, out of all the pages, he's not even looking at the sword. The other pages are looking at the element that they represent, and he's not even looking at it. So what it's saying is he has the ability to work both with his intuition and his mental capacity. It's a double-edged sword. He's innovative. This is a younger person under the age of 21, and this is coming. It just the way that his body language is, it just feels like it's someone who's golfing. Someone that has been raised in a way that golfing is an expensive sport, and usually people that are more affluent and higher up in society tend to be golfers. And also what comes up is a lot of times when there's competition, people think, oh, they're competing with other people, but you're not. Your purpose in life is to master your skill set and move forward in the way that would benefit you. And that's what this card is saying. This page is wanting to, and just the way the land is moving that he's standing on, it's like leaving the way that everybody maybe in the past generations did things in his family, and doing things his own way and competing with his own best version of himself. Like in golf, you never are competing against the other golfers. I mean, in a tournament, yes, you can win more money, of course, if you do better, but golf is a very mental game. And you're really competing with yourself to be able to keep yourself in a strong mental state to be able to get that hole in one. Really, really good. And we've got the Six of Pentacles coming up now, which is a card of give and take. And that is talking about this energy of being able to sow your own seeds and be able to, whatever you've accomplished and whatever that you've gained from the work you've done, that you can give it. Like there's two beggars here. You can give your some of your coins to other people, and it's not just coins, but it's also value, information, skill set, information, mastery. And you'll notice he has it's like a scale, like the Libra sign has, and it's weighing, does this person need these coins or not? And you see the other beggar here isn't receiving anything because in his pocket here, he already has something. So this is about being able to understand when it's time to give and when it's time to take. And all of this is sitting on the gift. So this gift that's coming in of the Pentacles is coming in to benefit not just the person who's receiving the Pentacle, but also so that person uses their judgment very wisely. It's sitting on the Hierophant to be able to know who to give to and who, how much to give and when to take, and really good having really good judgment around that. And now we have also the soulmates coming in. So the soulmates are sharing two cups, and this is like they're looking at each other, and they are making it, can sometimes represent it's coming up like a contract. So sometimes there's like a spiritual contract that at some point they will meet. We've got the spiral, and this energy here is talking about them coming together to manifest this. And now we're having the courage to be able to come together and make this happen. And sometimes this can also represent one person bringing the mind and the heart, into sync and being able to bring that energy out into the world. So I'm just getting, in this case, it could be these two people, or it could be a representation of one person that is no longer of two minds, but is using their heart and their mind to be able to manifest, having the courage to do so. Wow, and look at that. We have the Three of Swords, which at first glance makes you think, yikes. But when you look more closely, the heart is way bigger than it, like the swords, those are like little pinpricks. They're not really a sword going through the heart. And this also, and this was in yesterday's reading also, and it represents the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind following the heart. And I'm getting it really does in this case. The subconscious mind are the thoughts that you have that really are constantly there. And they are the thoughts that you have held from like when you were born up to about the age of 7. And because we can't really remember most of our childhood when we're that young, it's actually the thoughts of the people that were caring for you and their version of who you were. And then we've got the unconscious thoughts, which are spiritual, coming from source energy that you're not aware of, and the conscious thoughts that you are aware of. And when the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind come together and they get into the heart energy, because the heart, we're discovering now, also has a brain. It's not just a pump. The heart energy combined with the three minds collaborating is really powerful. That's when you can really make shift happen. And that's when the energetic upgrade comes in. And it's also, this card looks kind of like, what is that in the background? But I feel like it looks like a person with a neck and, a nose. So it's right in the heart. So this is also talking about being able to speak. We've got the king here. Being able to speak, having the courage to speak up. Yeah. Wow. And then we have the Five of Swords. So there's 3 battles. And he has 2 swords in hand. Really, this card also was in yesterday's reading, I think, or the one before that. In any case, what's coming up here is these 3 swords, the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind, fighting to bring those 2 together. And then there's the 2 swords with the 2 people. And and it's following the heart energy, and this is desires of the heart. So this is basically saying, it's an illusion that you're out in the cold. This is what you need for manifestation and to overcome the blocks, and having the courage to do so. And then also now we're into our heart's desires. And this is really, really awesome, because it's showing that it's possible for the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind to come together, that now you're ready to make your heart desires happen. And we've got the Emperor. And the Emperor is all about performance, sitting on the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is actually pointing to the Emperor. And the Magician is pointing also to the Page of Swords. The Emperor is all 4 kings rolled into one person. So the Emperor embodies all the qualities of the kings. So he's been there, done that. Has a lot, he's able to control his emotions, has passion and an ability to make shift happen. He's also very good with his words, and has a strong education regarding that, and in control of his emotions. So that's talking about the shift that happens when you're able to do this. And this isn't something that most people could ever hold for an extended length of time, but you only have to be able to hold that for a split second, and come to that decision and make shift change. And then we have the Knight of Swords coming through. So the Knight of Swords is an older version of the Page of Swords. He's now been able to afford a horse and come through, and he's in a hurry. And you can see the horse is stressed out because he's really been pushing the horse we've got to get there. And the thing is, he's traveling through barren land, and this can sometimes represent, you see the point of his sword is missing, and we have the jagged sky in both of these. And notice how the Page of Swords, it's all fluffy, and the Page of Swords has all these birds in the background. Those are because very open mind and hasn't been beaten down by life, So there's only 2 with the King of Swords, and there's all a flock here, and then in the background here we have 3 of Swords here. Wow. I love how this is playing out. Then we have the World. So yes, after this energy of going with the heart's desires, applying logic to it, the world is open. The world has changed. This is the end of a cycle. This is the World card. It's card number 21 in the tarot, and it's the last card of the cycle. It's talking about new moon. It's talking about a new way of being. So on a personal level, that could be within yourself, and on a more expanded level, it's talking about all the change that's happening in the world. And a lot of us might be under the illusion that everything's going to chaos. But what this is saying is that at the center of that chaos is the eye of the storm. And that's in control of the universe under divine order. There is order, and the chaos is necessary to be able to bring that order in for unknown reasons to me, because I'm not God, so I don't know. But yes, and that's then brings up the Five of Cups, which is crying over spilt milk, or in this case, wine. And it's about not focusing on the cups that you lost, but focusing on the two. So this person needs to turn around and look at the two cups, and there's a bridge there leading to a castle. And you notice even the castle is half decrepit and half standing. And so what this card is saying is the glass half empty or half full? We need to turn this around. The only way to turn this around is to allow ourselves to have that hope that is coming in, and not give in to the illusion that there's nothing that we can do as a just one person. One person, yeah, you can't fix all this. That's not your job to do that, but you can fix it within yourself, or do your best to, and be a strong representation for the people around you, especially if you're what's coming up, a parental figure. And then justice comes in. And this is talking about being able to speak this into being. So justice, the justice is sitting in between these two pillars. And you notice there's the bright sky in the background, but there's this veil. I'm getting, this is saying really clearly to me, when our ancestors pass on, and sometimes our descendants, unfortunately, that's a real challenging thing. But if they cross the veil, and the veil is there, and the ancestors are asking for justice, and some of the descendants also, that's coming in really clear. Like this person has lost something really close to their heart. It could be something that they worked really hard for, or it could be relationships. It could be maybe they lost, their children in an accident or something. And this is talking about the justice being brought down to earth. Wow. Wow, and then we have the death, yeah. Death of this cycle, the world. And so the death card looks really kind of scary also. But death is an illusion. Death is very similar to birth. It's moving into it's transition. The Grim Reaper is scary looking, but the Grim Reaper is not meant to be an evil symbol. It's just a symbol of death that many cultures around the world have embraced throughout history. And the Grim Reaper's coming through, and he trampled the king, and the crown fell off. And the king isn't representing an actual king that we have on the planet right now. The king, or I'm not going to read it that way, but it's more about the structure, because the emperor and the Hierophant are here. And justice, you see that? And this is more about the way things have been, again, how our ancestors did things, how things have been in history, and how that is changing now. So there's a young child here with a flower saying, hey, hi, and then we've got a mature woman looking away because she doesn't want the transition. But the young child is like innocent and is like, hi, what are we going to do now? And I feel like that child is represented here, and that this is saying God loves his children, and not to give up hope. The child's holding a bloom to give to the Grim Reaper, to say thank you for bringing this transition in total innocence, not even understanding who or what the Grim Reaper is. And then we have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is sitting on justice and the transition and the Emperor and the Hierophant. And the High Priestess is very close to God. And the High Priestess is highly intuitive, and she follows the cycles of the moon. There's actually, I can't remember it right now, but there's a psalm and proverb in the Bible that talks about how the High Priestess like to celebrate at the new moon. This is really, so the new moon is about moving into a new way of being, and that cycle, that the old cycle of the full moon has been released, and she's sitting in between the night and the day is what's coming up, with the Hierophant, with the Emperor, with justice, with transition. And then the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles are directly under that also. And then we have, yeah, lots of choices. So the Seven of Cups represent all the possibilities out there. And that's sitting on here, and justice. So if this person, or if you are in this situation where you've lost a lot, if you can turn around and look at the two cups, and you saw the soulmates are holding those two cups, if you can turn around and look at and embrace the change, and then you will have the opportunity, more opportunities are going to be given to you. And notice this person is just like a black silhouette, because that's representing, like, we're all actually black holes, you know. We're bringing all this energy in, and that's just representing how this person is like able to fill this space with all this opportunity, and then be able to make change. Isn't that because the night is going to bring in the illusion of night being in the dark is now being brought to light. Wow. And then at the top we have the Queen of Wands. And look, the Queen of wow, okay. The Queen of Wands is sitting at the top here, and she's like a real, this queen is very, like, she's the born to shine. She's got a sunflower in her hand, and that represents the fact that she follows the sun. So she's aware of difficulties and all of that, but she doesn't allow it to bring her down. She's on the top of the pyramid. She's sitting there, and she's got the black cat, which, look at, because a lot of people feel black cats are negative energy, but what if that's an empty vessel that's allowing the energy to come through, and the cat's looking right at her? And she's holding the wand, which is like the shoots of the descendants coming in. We have a responsibility to look out for future generations and do our best to be able to make their lives better. That's the whole point. Wow, this is a real cool reading. So on an individual level, this could be playing out in your life right now, and it also is definitely playing out in the big scene. This is, and now what I'm going to do is clarify these cards with my oracle, and it's Tales from the Vector, and I began this oracle in 2007. It's dragons, really big paintings of dragons. From the Intergalactic Federation of Light. I've been working on it since 2007. I really brought out all my artistry, 64 of them I completed in 2020. And at this time I'm working on writing up the material for the booklet that goes with the cards to bring it out. And so I'm playing with cards right now. I have been working with that. I worked in smaller groups, but I didn't have the deck completed to be able to. I went to fairs for like 4 years and worked with people with the cards and had a lot of fun doing that. Now that the deck is complete, I'm working on a bigger scale online on the internet. And I have the numbers of the cards here. So you can go to Tales from the Vector, TAILS from thevector.com, and look up what the paintings look like if you're interested. And there's also some more information about each card there. And once I have all the information and I'm satisfied that I have it straight, then I'll bring the deck out. And in the description box below, I have chapters for where this part of the reading starts, and also I have all the cards listed in the order that they appear. Actually, what I'm doing though is this card was supposed to be, it's from the bottom of the deck, and it is clarifying the underlying energy. So that makes total sense. This is an energetic portal, and it's bringing up this of the 111 portal. This is redemption of karma. So what this is saying is there's been a lot of karma created in the world because of the way our ancestors have done things, the way we're doing things now. And some of this karma is being cleared. A lot of people are doing a lot of inner work right now, all around the planet. And that's what each of us can do as an individual, is we can make ourselves as strong as we can be to be in our purpose, to be able to bring future generations a better way of doing things. And the illusion of this all, being out of control is just an illusion. We have the power within ourselves to control ourselves, and the more people that do that, the more order is going to come onto the earth. Really, really awesome. And okay, for the first card out, we have Ego, which is a karmic space. And the karmic space is of ego is like a bat out of hell, which came up on Halloween at the very top here. And which was, the universe has a good sense of humor. It's bringing this back in again. And this is initiation being left out in, I wanted to also just explain this before we go further with this. But whatever happens in a reading happens for whatever reason. So the karmic space of ego is one we all fall into. And that's when we need an ego. We need to be able to have an ego to be able to get things done on the planet. But at the same time, we don't want our ego to become bigger, and take us into ways that we don't. But this is also a card of initiation. And that's coming up from here. So the childhood ways that behind the scenes, what's happening in the world, and how generations have done it, how the world is now in a new cycle, not to worry about crying over spilt milk, turn around, become like those 2 cups, be the gift, and bring all this opportunity onto the planet, first to yourself, to your family, and then to the planet. And the Queen of Wands is all about creative solutions to problems, and having a sunny disposition, and looking, is the cup half empty or is it half full? So being able to keep that perspective, to be able to find creative solutions for problems, and using the intuition to bring transition in. And by doing that, by uniting the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind with the heart, and being able to speak from heart's desires and move forward with that, instead of being stuck in the old illusion, because it's time for a new way. And using our words of intellect rather than, physical force causing wars and stuff to happen on the planet. we have Leo coming in. Leo's all about the sun. You know, Leo is confidence versus arrogance. So there's a fine line between, you know, if someone is feeling like they are appearing to be arrogant, quite often it's because they lack confidence. And so they come off as being arrogant. Leo is all about the sun energy and the lion. So overcoming those fears. So, and 33 is actually the number, is the age that Jesus Christ died on the cross. A lot of people say. 24, the battle star. So this is about having the courage from the sacred, from the solar plexus, being able to breathe and being able to breathe through things, having the courage to be able to get this done. And that's sitting, clarifying the magician and this gift, how to bring this energy in. This is all about the courage and moving forward with courage. Whoops, is there 2 cards there? Yes. The Hanged Man was first. So the Hanged Man is talking about hanging from that tree of knowledge over here, and that is how to get the gift again. So the Queen of Cups, I'm just getting the answer is love. That's what he discovered. Love yourself, love God, love the planet. Love is the answer, not war. Okay, so we've got then the perception wanted to come out. So perception is perception. A cat's purr has resonates. The vibration is so high that it actually has healing qualities, and that's, you know, the grass is greener on the other side because it is fake. That's what the hermit has discovered, along with the Queen of Cups. So this is basically saying everything's about perception. The illusion, don't give into, like, take a second look, really look at it. If you want green, you can have real grass be green. You just have to put the work in. And that's basically what it's saying for the planet, that each of us needs to put the work in to empower others by empowering ourselves and being strong within ourselves. And we have the Empress energy covering the King of Swords. So the Empress is generates, and she's like she's able to generate energy and be able to manifest at a very high level effortlessly. And that's talking again about this ability to, you know, be congruent with your heart's desires. And we've got the Tower on the Hermit underneath here, and the Hangman and that. So that, yeah, the Tower is, the worst divorce is from source. This is about, don't get caught up in the illusion that nobody cares, the universe doesn't care about you, that God doesn't care about you. The Tower sometimes is required to be able to bring transition about. Sometimes people need to have, like it has to be like there's a lightning bolt, you know, to be able to, you know, how often do people get hit by lightning? Not that often when you think of it that way. The odds of getting hit by lightning are very slim for the average person. So the Tower is coming in to say you're not average is what I'm getting. You are a significant dot in God's universal plan. Here is the All-Star, the third. This is again talking about using your the third eye chakra, using your insight that you gain from basically controlling your emotions so that you don't get caught up in negative illusions. And yeah, the denial comes in. So the tactic of denial, what I don't know, this card's been coming up a lot. The Queen of Denial, being like falling for the illusion instead of really looking into things, or being too afraid to look into things and then living the illusion instead of, because we're surrounded by abundance, yet a lot of people are living as if we're in total poverty. And that's basically what this card and this card are saying, is the illusion of lack is an illusion. Don't fall for it. Yeah, and as I'm saying that, we've got the High Priestess, which confirms for me that this is illumination on the situation, because the High Priestess is all about joy, and she's up here. She's right now. She's working with the Queen of Wands to bring this opportunity in for all of us. And the High Priestess is always joyful because she's up there with God all the time, you know, and sitting in a very high vibration, and brings that, is saying, you know, use your intuition here. And it's sitting like right here on the sun. And then we've got falling star. So this is about the heart chakra, unfettered. That's when I said love is the answer. The falling star, actually, that painting is twice in the deck, because there's a cosmic heart, and then there's also, on a more specific level, the heart chakra that we all each have. And we also have the cosmic heart, which is about the expansion for the whole universe. And what falling star says is falling and failing in love is just a matter of I. This is, again, saying that you can work on yourself, and then bring that cosmic energy, that love into the planet on a higher level. But you have to first love yourself. And if you love yourself, you have to be able to have the courage to go inward, to be able to look at your shadow side, so that you can be the best version of you, which brings the Magician, as I'm saying that again, when we have the major arcana confirmed in the deck, like we have in many levels here. It's just saying that, reconfirming what was said earlier. And we have the Pisces energy. So we moved out of the age of Pisces, and we've moved into the age of Aquarius. And this is about being able to, you know, are you going to sink or swim? And Pisces is a very sensitive sign. There's a lot of water there. There's a lot of emotion. And so this is regarding, like, you know, not being so sensitive that you aren't able to accomplish what you need to. And we moved into the sign of Aquarius out of Pisces, and not that long ago. And this is a long journey here of, you know, we're at the very beginning of making this change. And a lot of people feel like they're a fish out of water, because the Pisces energy has been there for so long. And Pisces is all about water, and Aquarius is all about air. Fish out of water. So this is indifference, is a karmic space. We're all in this together. So you can be neutral to a situation so that you can make strong choices, but you don't want to become indifferent to any of the suffering on the planet. You want to be aware of it. It's not your responsibility to fix the planet. It's your responsibility to go inward and do the best that you can for yourself, so that what you bring onto the planet is going to benefit everyone. And then we have superstar, and that makes you a superstar. That's the throat chakra sitting right here. You know, use your voice to create harmony. And that's why the King of Swords went inward, to be able to really be careful of what he said before he said it, so that it would have a strong impact on the situation instead of a weak one. And then we have dissension. So that's another tactic coming up. And, you know, with friends like this who needs enemies, there's a lot of sharks out there, but a lot of those, you know, you're more likely to be pulled down by a human shark then the odds are in your favor that you probably won't be attacked by a shark in your lifetime, just like lightning. It happens. Having said that, be your own best friend and make sure that you're aware of what's going on is what's coming up, because there's a lot of dissension. So of people, talking about, oh, the world's all going to crap and da-da-da. No, there is order. There's order in the chaos is what's coming up. And then we have scotoma. Yeah, there's order, but scotoma is when you have a blind spot, and there's a reason why the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. Basically, that's saying put the past behind you, and that's what this person is doing, and look at better ways to benefit the planet and to do things differently and have the courage to go out there and do that. And that starts first and foremost within yourself. Yeah, because of the abuse of power, which is also a karmic space. And so the abuse of power is, karma is direct, from our own actions, indirect from our ancestors and our descendants. And then there's a bigger, these spaces that we all fall in. And we're all capable of abuse of power, and we're all capable of being abused by power. So it's there's a lot of that out there. There always has been. With all the information that we have and our access to information, we're more aware of it now, but it's always been there. And disruption. So disruption is another tactic. Disruption, a lot of times people think of disruption as being war or a tornado, those kinds of things. But sometimes disruption can be holidays and being distracted by other things. When, the holiday season comes up, a lot of people are distracted for a month, basically, with all the holidays all toppled on one another and taken away from what they are working on because of it's beautiful to celebrate holidays. At the same time, what this is saying is do it with a clear mind. And then at the very top here, clarifying, the queen here is Gemini energy. Creative solutions versus logic. I couldn't say it any better. This has been I really enjoyed doing this reading. I hope you have also enjoyed this reading. If you feel inclined, please do hit that like button and subscribe if this resonates with you. I'm doing my best to build my channel right now, and that really helps me out. Have an awesome day, evening. I'll see you tomorrow.